Left-Wing Kingz. Listen, think, act, repeat.
Welcome to the Left-Wing King podcast. Today we're going to be discussing the 2024 presidential election third-party candidates. We're going to talk about the Arizona Supreme Court abortion time machine and Candace Owens firing from the Daily Wire. I am your head moderator in charge, the HMIC, Malik, and I'm joined today by King Ace.
What up?
And our special guest today, King Steve, sitting in for Londa.
What's going on, y'all?
Hey, those of y'all who don't know, Steve is a regular on the show, so we appreciate him taking some time out of his day to sit with us
we had
and
to call him off the
chop
bench.
it up a little bit. Exactly. So let's get it cracking. While Joe Biden and Donald Trump dominate the headlines, there are some third-party candidates that are trying to steal some of the shine and set up shop in the Oval Office. Candidates like Robert F. Kennedy Jr., Cornel West, and Jill Stein, and even more. There's a whole bunch of them out there after doing my research. They're ramping up their campaigns and they're trying to get into the his house and get on the state ballots. So, Steve, which third-party candidate are you most excited about?
Dr. West. Let me say this. I really do wish that it was Dr. West with Jill Stein as his running mate, because I'm excited about both of them. But Dr. West, this is his first time running for president. He's extremely knowledgeable. And he's been saying things that the major candidates, they should have been looking at. They should have been looking at these things for years. He has things, and he suggested things that would be good globally and nationally. And his ideas are intelligent, and a lot of them are practical, even though, look, we might get taxed a little. Practically down the road, it would help. So.
Yeah, well, it's funny you say that. I admire Dr. West. Been a long time follower for him. But it's some things that I agree with him, and I don't disagree. I do disagree with him. He has some awesome domestic plans, and he's really got a brilliant plan on attacking homelessness and poverty here in America, and racial equity, and policing, coming up with some policing tactics here in the country. So I do agree with him on his domestic things. I listened to him this week, and I think where Dr. West is going to have issues is when it comes to foreign policy, especially with Hamas and Israel. Him and his running mate, I think it was Marilyn Abdullah, if I'm correct.
Yeah.
They were asked some hardline questions when it came to Hamas, Israel, and even though they stand on maybe a good moral ground, I think politically, to run for president, it's going to be the dagger that takes him down. To be honest with you, even though I'm excited about Cornel West as a third-party candidate, along with a few other ones. Jill Stein's pretty, okay, but I think that's his dagger in the side. Is his foreign policy.
Yeah.
So
I agree, but I kind of also feel like if you look at even the major candidates, there's not a good answer for what's going on in Israel right now. There's just not.
Yeah, I mean,
you can forget about it, anything, because when you have that type of carnage, and what are you going to do? Because it's kind of like one of those things where it's like, it's your ally. So if you say, hey, well, this is my ally, I'm sticking with him, you're like, well, are you okay with all these people getting killed?
Yeah.
But then if you go against it, then it's like, well, man, that's your ally. Why are you turning your back on your ally? But real talk, that a lot of what's going on shouldn't be going on. So Israel is a no-win situation.
Well, I mean, but they got to ask some hardline questions about Hamas, like straight direct. Like, do you support Hamas, and do you think what they did is right? And they stumbled on those questions.
Yeah,
and we all know that and then like they tried to back it up and say, well, the problem with Hamas and Israel has been going on for 70 years, and we all know that. We know that Hamas didn't come out of nowhere. But when you getting that asked directly about October 7th, and do you agree? You kind of got to be steadfast and say And this is just politically. I'm not saying morally they're wrong on what they're saying, but I'm saying politically, you just got to denounce them completely. Hey, they're a terrorist group or whatever, and we need to get rid of Hamas. And I think that if you're running for president, that's going to be an issue for you when it comes to foreign policy and getting the support you need. You know, we have a real strong Jewish presence in America and also in politics. Okay, so and not just because of that, but also because of the fact that just like Hamas just did some gangster shit on October the 6th and went over there and kidnapped some people and killed some people and the whole 9 yards, and that just should kind of be denounced straight up. But
Oh yeah.
we all know the political ramifications behind it. But if you're running for president, you want the support. I just think you have to have a stronger presence on that. And they got to ask them serious questions, which really made them look weak on foreign policy and really understanding that situation.
Yeah. So speaking of policy, let's say Trump or Biden wins. What third party candidate policies should one of them embrace? Let's start off with Ace on that one.
I think Cornel West has a awesome domestic policy that they should look at. He's talking about really addressing homelessness and trying to eliminate that and having a war against that and working towards that. And along with that, along with some gender and racial equity things they're talking about, we know definitely with Cornel West, we're not gonna have people, getting rid of DEI programs and all that stuff. So
Right.
but if you listen to what he's saying, he's really got a plan and attack on making things better domestically. You know what I'm saying? So I think that's something they should actually pick up. I'll be honest with you. When I did some of my research, I just really didn't find anything else strong enough to where I was like, oh yeah, Biden them should talk about that. Maybe you could talk about maybe what RFK is doing a little bit, but I don't. We talked a little briefly about his farm subsidies and stuff like that, but yeah, my thing is I really did like what Cornel West was saying domestically, what he was trying to do for that.
I agree with what he said. I also like Jill Stein's economic bill of rights, basically where you're saying people deserve a livable wage, people deserve health insurance. Those are things that are important. People deserve affordable housing. I kind of feel like when you look at what's going on right now in our country, that's the main problem, more than anything, because it don't matter what color you are, you got to have a place to live. You got to be able to go to the doctor, an economic bill of rights would help the country blanket as a whole. And it would be nice. I mean, even if you didn't embrace the whole thing, if you looked into doing some of that.
Yeah, I think that like you said, there was some things last 2 weeks ago. Can't remember that we talked about RFK Jr. and there were some policies that he had that were very interesting. And I know Steve that you like a lot of the things that RFK Jr. talks about. But then there's also the other side of the coin that you like. Am I willing to take the cool to go with the crazy?
Yes,
so
exactly.
Some of that in there. But speaking of that, we talk about RFK when we spoke about him being a threat to Trump and Biden. Who do you think, Steve, is the biggest threat to Trump or Biden as far as stealing votes?
RFK is definitely going to steal a lot of Trump voters, and people I think originally thought, okay, well, he's going to be taking voters from Biden. But the thing about it is this: you have people who have a sour taste in their mouth about Trump because of January the 6th, because of some of his policies. I mean, Jared Kushner, got $2 billion after he got out of the White House. You got people who are sour about those things, and they don't want to vote for Trump, but they're looking for somebody else. RFK is the only person they really going to have that they could vote for. They're not going to want to vote for Biden because he's Biden, and Jill Stein and Cornel West are too far to the left. So RFK would probably be their only choice. For Biden, I would also say RFK because I think Jill Stein is, she's run for president a few times, and you know, she never got any traction. So
Yeah.
You know, my concern is the independent swing voter. You know what I mean?
mhm.
Like the guy that can go either way is what I'm saying. So people gonna vote for Trump, gonna vote for Trump. People gonna vote for Biden, gonna vote for Biden. They got their bases that are gonna do that. Don't think it really affects that either way. But that independent swing voter, who you gonna vote for? That's usually who kind of determines the presidency. Now you got RFK here. Yeah, you know, like you said, he's got some things going, but then RFK also like denounced COVID and didn't believe in vaccines, and now the measles are back. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know what I mean? Just like so it's just like who are they or what are they gonna vote for, and how's that gonna determine presidency? Like, especially when you're talking about swing states like Michigan and Pennsylvania. And then now you got these guys that are coming in that maybe some of these independent swing voters that are going to vote for Biden and or Trump are not going to go another way. I think that RFK fits more to Trump's people, you know, to where he's maybe affecting some of his base a little bit more. But I think it could be dangerous also if you got somebody who was probably leaning toward Biden. It's like, oh, I have another choice now, and I'm going to vote that way. My issue and problem is until you kind of change the system, that third party candidate really isn't working toward how the system works.
Agreed.
It's like we're playing chess when we checkers when we should be playing chess. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And yeah, I mean it's cool and it's, you know, I guess it, you know, it feels good, but is it politically going to get anything done or get us what we need, or is it going to actually hurt the country and put us in a situation we don't want to be in and have to live with for the hopefully the next 4 years, and hopefully not for the hopefully don't change it how everything is completely because we get the wrong person in office and they start changing things around because we had this guy that was just want to stand on a policy. They knew they weren't going to win, but they want to steal votes and change the election like that.
Yes, I agree. And if we had to where you had to get more than 50% of the vote,
yeah,
like that was down the thing. You have to get more than 50% of the vote. If you don't get 50% of the vote, then we have a runoff.
Yeah.
And we had third parties. That would be different because then what you would do is you would do this. You create a system where these third parties could get on the platform. They could state what was important to them. Okay. And yeah, they might get 4 or 5% of the vote actually, if you had it like that.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. They've gotten to speak on what is important to them or whatever. And then we have a runoff, and whatever 2 is left is whatever 2 is left.
Yeah.
And eventually, it might take a few cycles, but eventually some of these third party candidates will probably end up on that runoff because, and I voted Democrat most of my life, but I'm really bothered by the lack of new ideas. And I'm bothered by the lack of action in Washington. And I think that the lack of action is because of the two-party system, A, and B, the amount of money that it takes to run for public office, be it president, Senate, Congress. If you have to raise all that money, you're beholden to some people. And that whole thing got to change, man. That whole thing would have to change for us to have effective governing. We don't have that right now, and we don't have.
No.
Well, I like where the conversation is going, but I do want to make sure that we stick to the script. So I am going to ask this of you guys just to make sure that we get some clarity on this question. So I heard you guys both talking about RFK stealing, votes from Trump. Is there anybody out there who could possibly steal votes from Biden?
Well, Jill Stein stole enough votes from Hillary Clinton in a couple of states to where if she hadn't been in the election, she would have won. So
yeah.
Jill Stein, how about you?
Jill Stein, and I still think RFK is a threat to Biden when it comes to this independent swing voter. Steve kind of touched on it, and when he was talking about if it was just you had to get 50% of the vote. Right now, all you got to do is disrupt one swing state and flip that state and win the electoral college. And you can change the presidency. And that's what my fear is. He goes and wins Michigan, or he goes and wins, lo and behold, California's gonna vote blue, but he wins Michigan, or he wins Pennsylvania somewhere, and
Wisconsin.
and that 4 to 5% vote or whatever swings it away. It wouldn't have went, because if those votes would have voted for Biden or Trump, it would have went that way. That's the danger we face with the third party candidate, is that not that they're going to win the presidency, but they're going to go in and affect maybe one of these states, going to determine who the president is because of the electoral college.
Yes.
Yeah.
RFK is still a big threat with that.
Mm-hmm.
Like you say, Jill Stein stole some states from affected states with Hillary Clinton,
Mm-hmm.
and who says that doesn't happen? Then I think the Republican Party is basing that on that, really, to be honest with you. That's kind of their strategy. I sent that clip out, like you said, even where the RFK team came out and basically said that's what their strategy was. So, like, we're gonna, not really winning presidency, but how can we vote affect the vote and keep Biden from keep Biden from winning the presidency? You know what I'm saying?
So my biggest fear is that y'all ain't click that like button. Make sure that you click on the like button. Make sure that you subscribe to Left-Wing Kingz. Also, I want you guys to share this on all of your social media platforms so that people can see the message that we're trying to get out there and do some civic engagement and civic responsibility. So, Steve, if Trump and Biden were out of the race, which third-party candidate could actually win?
Okay, if they're out of the race, RFK is going to win. If they're out of the race, because he is a little bit more moderate than Jill Stein and Cornel West. They would cancel each other out as far as votes because their policies are very similar. RFK would be more to the right, even though I would consider him kind of a centrist, but he's more to the right than the other two, so he would automatically win.
Yeah, he actually was a Democrat. He actually is a Democrat. His family's Democrat, and that's where he should be. And I think that he's playing toward the right a little bit. But yeah, I don't see any other third party candidate being able to run a strong enough campaign to beat out RFK. Even though, like, Jill Scott's got some good points, Cornel West got some good points, but I just think when it comes to appealing nationally, RFK be the one that appeals nationally.
Yeah, and he is a Democrat, but he's more of a even though he has all the conspiracy theories, a lot of his policies are more centered than Jill Scott or Cornel West, because their policies are definitely to the left, and his are more centered, even though he's a Democrat.
Well, he's claiming independent
now.
So you brought up a point about like campaign funding and how much money it takes, but it's also a very, very like convoluted process to get on each state's ballot, because each state has different rules and guidelines to get into the game, right? So, Ace, what are some of the hurdles that are challenging these third-party candidates from getting on the ballot?
Personally, RFK tried to get me to sign up in front of a Dollar General one day. And I was like, hell no.
RFK was that nigga?
It was a black dude too. And then I'm gonna tell you what killed me about it. He just handed me the thing, like, man, sign this, chief. I looked at it. So what is this? I said, hell no.
I'm signing over my deed, nigga. What
Yeah, but that's one of the hurdles, man. They got to get somebody, signatures and stuff like that. And they have to have a backing in the state to want them to have that. And that's kind of hard as a third party candidate, because you ain't got no party or nothing like that. So you don't have the people on the ground to get you on the ballot. You know what I'm saying? So that's one thing. And like I said, people handing me strange clipboards, man, in front of Dollar General ain't gonna cut it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. And what he said, it's a political machine. And then you got the Democrats and Republicans to a lesser degree. If you are a libertarian, you're part of the Libertarian Party, they do have somewhat of a ground game. The Green Party has somewhat of a ground game. But when you're totally independent like RFK, that's a hard road. A harder road. It's a hard road anyway, unless you're a Democrat or a Republican. But to not have any party affiliation, because You got these other third parties, and yeah, they have ground game. You know, there's a lot of things that the Green Party does, even though it doesn't really get the traction that the Democrats and the Republicans do. At least they have some type of political infrastructure, and if you don't have that, well, then it's going to be difficult to get on the ballot.
Yeah, and I think people got to understand that it's politics. And politics is really, when it comes down to the simplest form, it's the allocation of resources. You know, when it comes down to it, government is set up for a reason. They have the political systems, and that's the way it's set up. Nobody, people think it's like they think it's like a movie where a dude just says, "Hey, I'm gonna run for president, and I'm gonna get out there," and everybody likes him, and he becomes president. There's a political system that you got to go by, and you got to know and understand. And I think people forget that. Yeah, there's a game that needs to be played, but you can go back to the Romans or any government that you have. It's always been a game to be played because it comes down to a country's governing of their resources is what politics is basically what it is. And there's people who control that, and there's people who don't control that. And usually they form groups, which are political parties, and they control that. And you have to learn how to get within to do that. So even though it's very novel to say, hey, I like this guy's policy, he has some good ideas, he wants to run, but if he ain't got nobody backing him, and he's not part of an organization that can get behind him and do that, it's going to be far hard for him to do that. And so that's why I say when people start talking politics and, hey, I'm a elected third party guy that has none of that backing, you're not understanding how powerful your vote is. You know what I'm saying? Like, just don't throw your vote away because you like what a dude says, but he has no power, no way he's going to get up there and do that. You need to find some way to influence that in other ways. Part of that's participating and understanding what's going on. But you just don't throw your vote away just because, hey, man, I like what this guy says. I ain't did no research. I ain't looked it up. But, hey, I like what he says, and I don't like the other guy. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
No, we got to do better than that. If we want that, we start talking about change, I think a lot of people don't understand. To change, you have to be involved. You just can't be talking about it on the sideline and say, hey, I want to change it, but this is what I think. No, you got to get involved and change it, man, if you're going to do that. And I think a lot of people, when they get behind these third parties, they think just because they vote for a third party person, they're doing some change. No, you got to do more than that. If you want that dude to really do it, you got to get behind them, figure it out.
Yeah.
All right. So before we jump ship, I want to go ahead and get at some comments that we got from the land of YouTube. We got Christina Booker, whoever the hell that is, says, hey, party peeps on the train from Belgium to Amsterdam. Have fun, girl.
We don't care.
Enjoy yourself. I care, damn it. Just be safe. Be safe. All right, we got Dr. Sizer, who says, bro, people messed around and voted for Trump, and he won. And we will pay for that dumb shit for a generation because of his SCOTUS appointments.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's the thing right there.
Yep, exactly. Big thing right there. Now, then Dr. Sizer followed that up by saying, not capping for Biden or the Democrats, but Trump will affect the ability to vote because he's an authoritarian fascist. We need another option, but now is not the time.
Definitely not.
Yeah,
definitely not.
We got to just roll with, unfortunately, that's what people say. But people voted for Trump and said that shit. That's the best of a bad choice.
No, that was a bad choice.
And now I guess you could say Biden is that. So vote the other way now.
Yeah.
Dr. Sizer also said, excuse my language, but RFK is a fucking self-serving nut, which is probably true. And then he said, the machine behind the candidate is what propels candidates.
Yeah.
To y'all's points. So thank you for all of that love there, Dr. Sizer.
Dr.
Tina,
Sizer.
Appreciate y'all.
Brilliant, man.
Yes, sir. So
both sizes.
Yeah.
Brilliant.
So about talking about like the way that we do our elections, electoral college and candidacies and how you get your campaign stood up, all those things are just so old. And, we got to, like you said, Steve, we got to change. But, Arizona's really going way back in time. They didn't jump back to 1864.
Why the hell they do that?
So we've been thrown into a legal time capsule. Like in 1864, there was a law that was enacted before Arizona even became a state that banned nearly all abortions. The only exception was if the mother's life was in jeopardy. Now, this relic from the Civil War lay dormant for decades. Now, go forward to 2023, and the former AG for Arizona, Mark Brownvich, dusted off the old law, and now, you know how long the legal system works. In 2024, the Arizona Supreme Court ruled that 1864 law is enforceable. So I hope I got everybody caught up. So, Ace, what does this decision mean for the patients in Arizona?
Okay, I was gonna say something else. I'm gonna say where we at though. You can, like, if you get an abortion now, in Arizona, not only is it illegal, but they can prosecute you under this law, basically. And patience means a lot of things. You can't get an abortion in Arizona. You're gonna have to be traveling in the Underground Railroad if you want an abortion, going to other states, and don't come to the South because that's completely cut off too.
Yep.
And it's a really attack on women's health there. Arizona's just ass backwards, man. They have been for the longest, man. It started when they didn't want the Martin Luther King holiday. You know what I mean? They just, I hate to say it, man, they've just really pushed a racist agenda out of that state for the longest. And anybody who wants to go back in laws, that's just automatic racism right there. Like, you know what I'm saying? Nobody wants to go back in law.
Yeah.
Like, nobody. They, other than racist, you know what I'm saying? Like, that's just straight up. So, like, if you're a patient there and you need an abortion, and what's sad to say, that's if it's incest, that's if it's rape, if the mother's life is in jeopardy, it's now against the law to do that based on something that happened when we was riding around on horses and owning slaves and killing Native Americans. You know what I'm saying? Like, what's good about that? I have no idea. I don't know who's the guy that saw that law and said, "Hey, let's bring this back. Everybody's gonna love this." But you really got to be a twisted mind on somebody who wants to go back to a time when this country was not in a good place.
Yeah. I think that this is going to make it so people have to really make hard choices, even if you want to have children. Because if you decide, hey, you know what, let's have a baby. And then you're like, okay, well, I got to look at, well, what if there's some type of genetic problem with my kid? What happens if I'm having a problem pregnancy and it looks like it's going to be unhealthy for, if you're a woman, for myself, if you're a man, for my spouse or my partner? That makes it so the probability of you wanting to even start a family, even if you're pro-life, that makes it very difficult, So I think that people look at it like it's only going to affect people who are pro-choice. That's not the case. It's going to affect everybody. Yeah. It's going to affect everybody. And they didn't use a scalpel. They used a machete when they came in with this. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And people were, oh yeah, Roe versus Wade was overturned, but nah,
yeah,
that's it's gonna affect every person, every person, every female who is a patient. When you go in there and you're, like I said, if you're thinking about planning a family, within good luck, because if you got any problems and you have to they're thinking about terminating the pregnancy, you're gonna have problems. It's gonna be difficult for you.
Yeah, man. I mean, when this law was passed originally, they were cutting off legs with saws.
Exactly, man.
The anesthesiology was a bottle of whiskey.
And they didn't make you drink it. They hit you on the head with that motherfucker.
Doctors didn't even know what germs were. They were just dirty hand operating on you. I mean, it's just like what, if John McCain was living, this wouldn't even came out of Arizona.
Nope.
Like this. There's no way.
Nope.
It's bad when me and Carrie Lake agree on something.
Yeah.
And Carrie Lake,
her ass go back and forth.
Yeah,
about
but
everything.
We'll talk about that in a minute. We're gonna talk about that in a minute. We're gonna talk about that in a minute. So, Steve, let's flip the script. We talked about the patients. What about the doctors? What does this mean for those doctors in Arizona?
It means if you do that shit, you get 3 to 5 years. That's what that means. 3 to 5 years. 3 to 5 years for doing your fucking job. That's what that means. So again,
3
like
to 5
I said,
years for helping someone who might have a genetic disorder that they,
Exactly, man. and again, that is the problem. Even if, like I said, and I am definitely pro-choice. I believe that we don't know, what's going on with a person, and real talk, we don't got the resources to take care carry kids that people don't want.
Yeah.
We don't in this country. It's sad to say, but we don't.
Mhm.
Okay. But let's just say again, I'll be devil's advocate. Let's say that, okay, even the people who are pro-life, if you're having a problem pregnancy and the doctor's looking at it, the doctor's saying, well, damn, I might get 3 to 5 years. Is he going to perform that abortion, or he's going to be like,
Yeah.
you know, what you going to do?
Right.
And that is the problem. Like I said, there's no nuance to these laws.
Mm-mm.
Yeah, and don't doctors take oaths if somebody's in, they're in the critical
Hippocratic.
condition or whatever? Yeah,
Yeah.
they got to help them. You know what I'm saying? That ain't that an oath they got to take?
They oathing not to drop the soap, nigga. What you talking about, man?
Yeah.
Shit.
And they gonna lock up doctors. That's what we doing now. That's what we
Yes.
doing in this country. We're locking up doctors for doing their job.
For doing their job.
You know what I'm saying? Because some idiot decided to go back to 1864 and pull a law out of nowhere. Come on, man. This is just getting crazy, man. You know what I'm saying? So, I just don't get it. You know what I'm saying? Like you said, if you pro-life, if you pro-choice, whatever you are, don't that end when people's lives are in danger or they got raped or something like that?
Yes,
Ain't that where it
incest.
draws the line? Yeah, incest. So I mean, I'll be real. And write this one down. This is a white Christian national agenda when it comes to abortion and immigration. I've said that. It's just a simple fact that white nationalist Christians don't want to be known as a minority. So now they're fighting abortion. They're fighting immigration to keep those numbers up, to keep power. That's just basically it. That's the only reason you're going to go back to 1864.
Yeah. I just find it hard. And it's a hard decision for anybody, because in the case where an individual may die because of a pregnancy, then there's 2 lives, according to like anybody who's, pro-life. Which life has the value? Like the one that's, the 21-year-old who might die because of this pregnancy, or the baby who's probably going to die anyway. I mean, or may not die. But now this baby is now causing this 21-year-old person to expire. So if you're pro-life, which life? There's multiple lives in the balance at that time. So hard to say, man.
And plus,
So,
they ain't doing nothing for folks when the baby gets here. They ain't helping. They don't want to help.
Yeah,
But
politicians.
if you
ain't
say
doctors.
like you're pro-life, then you basically have to provide resources to help those lives live a balanced life. I'm not saying to give them make them millionaires, but if you're gonna make somebody come up in this motherfucker, give them the resources they need to live.
Exactly,
I don't think they care, man. I think that there's an agenda to keep a dependent state in this country. You know what I'm saying? I don't care how many babies are here. You know what I'm saying? Because once again, they can allocate resources and come up with ways to make money off of that dependent state. You know what I'm saying? Just plain and simple. So politicians aren't doctors.
Yeah.
And I'm tired of politicians making scientific decisions, you know what I'm saying, and then trying to lock up doctors for doing what we pay them to do.
Right.
It's stupid.
Yeah. So I mean, we talk about hard decisions. Pro-life conservatives like Matt Gress and Carrie Lake, your girl Carrie, they're denouncing the Arizona Supreme Court's decision. Problem is, they were embracing the other side, the pro-life stance. Now all of a sudden they're flip-flopping. So, Ace, why are these legislators flip-flopping right now?
Couple of reasons. I think Carrie Lake, it hit home. It was good to talk about it when it wasn't in her state. You know what I'm saying? It wasn't affecting her. So, hey, I'm pro-life, blah, 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 blah. When that shit hit home, and now it's going to affect direct voters for her, it's going to direct people that she represents in Arizona that vote for her, look like her. Now they have to live under this law. I think that's why she flipped. You know what I'm saying? Because now it hit home. But when it was in Wisconsin somewhere, she could care less, so she could talk all that pro-life stuff. And we know Carrie Lake, she just says what needs to be said to appease, Trump voters and the MAGA Republicans, so we know how that works. But
I mean, he's flip-flopped.
He's flip-flopped too.
15 times is what they said, I think, recently.
Look, they know, Republicans know this abortion right is a killer for them. Going to kill them. Like, there's conservative white women that do not agree with that. And if it's on the ballot, it's going to vote that way. You know what I'm saying? Because in the day, in the story, like Steve said, if you're family planning, you don't want to risk it. If something happens to you during the pregnancy, you can die, and your doctor can go to jail. That's just common sense. And if you're trying to plan a family, I don't care how you lay on the policy, like you said, that's a real threat. Now in my state, I can't even try to think about having a baby because, what if I'm at risk or having the baby's at risk? The doctor's going to have to make a decision to let me either die or let the baby die because he can't do an abortion.
Yeah.
I'm going to have to go to California or some shit. It's going to be an extra expense for me to go.
Yes.
Or even worse, I got raped. You know what I'm saying? I'm pregnant now.
Mm-hmm.
And y'all going to make me have this baby here? I don't have the means to go to California or wherever the case I can go get an abortion. Then I don't have the means to pay the doctor once I get there.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So it's just it's just, like I said, it's just I don't have a better word to say, but stupid. It's just stupid. I don't understand.
So why are they flip-flopping?
They're flip-flopping because I think that people are realizing that these laws are misogynistic. These are laws that are made by a whole bunch of men about women and what women can do to their bodies. And most women don't like that shit, man.
It's funny that you bring that up, man. It just put a picture in my mind of 1864. Some motherfuckers in the territory of Arizona.
It wasn't even a state.
Right. In the territory. Exactly. Got in the room. You think there was a woman in that room?
Fuck no.
There was no woman in the room in 1864 for this decision.
Yeah. Women sure couldn't vote. And I
couldn't even talk to men about situations. They sat there at home and drank tea and talked about doilies and fucking doing dresses and books that they read. They didn't even, those type of affairs and discussions were like, a woman should not be in a room for this discussion. It was crazy.
Yeah. And just like, but like what you said about Carrie Lake, okay? People like her, this is not about what their views are. It is about, I want to get into office.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
With Trump, if you listen to him all the way up until right before he started running for president, this dude was pro-choice.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it was shit.
Yes, it was. yeah. Especially all this going around he was doing. Let's be real, okay? But all the way up until then, pro-choice. But he had to get elected, so then he became pro-life. And what happens is this: you make these decisions, and then the people who are really, protesting and everything at the abortion clinics and everything were the people who were giving him the names for the Supreme Court, stuff like that, So then you get, your Brett Kavanaughs, your Amy Coney Barrett's and everything elected into the Supreme Court. They overturn everything, and then the water spills down. Yeah, the water just spills all the way out the dam, and you got all these crazy laws. Yeah. But I don't think that they really considered the ramifications.
No, they didn't.
No,
they didn't. They didn't think about it at all. You can't bring back a law that was around when goddamn Doc Holliday and Wyatt Earp was fighting at the OK Corral in goddamn Arizona at Tombstone and shit.
Man. And
I mean, you can't bring back no law like that.
Yeah.
When you can just round up a posse and go hang a motherfucker. Like, nah, like what are y'all doing, man, in Arizona, bro? Like I said, and once again, women weren't even at the table.
Nope.
When this law was passed. You know what I'm saying?
No.
So Arizona today is filled with a whole bunch of women that vote that don't like this. So yeah, it's a problem. Yeah. It's definitely a problem. So I mean, it's just like I said, once again, I don't understand that who opened the book and saw this goddamn law and said, hey, let's bring this back. I mean, who is that guy?
But it wasn't just in Arizona. That shit happened in other states too, though.
Yeah, it happened in a lot of places. But I'm just saying, but Arizona's only the dumbasses to put it out there so we can talk crazy about them. But we already know a lot of states down south, Alabama, Arkansas, and crazy stuff like that. So, we've got laws like that coming up here. So
yeah. Well, I mean, I know those are some dumbass states, but we don't want y'all to be dumbasses. Click the like button,
please.
Okay. Subscribe to Left-Wing Kingz, and also make sure you share this content on all of your social media platforms out there. So, Ace, What are the activists in Arizona doing to try to overturn this decision? Because it's a 14-day stay on it right now. So what are they trying to do?
They're trying to repeal that law. They're going after that law. They're trying to repeal that law, man, and hopefully they're successful at that. And they're getting a lot of headroom. It's a lot of support, and like I said, I think it almost unifies, almost damn near bipartisan, this law over here. So, yeah, I mean, you know, they're doing what they need to do. Unfortunately, they shouldn't have to do this because laws that, you know, I think there should be a rule that laws that go past World War I. Shouldn't be able to be brought back into the books. But yeah, that's what they're doing. They're trying to repeal it.
This is where people don't realize you don't just vote in national elections.
Yeah.
You vote in your state elections. You vote in your local elections. If you vote in your state elections and your state senators and your state congressmen and everything are logical, you don't have to deal with this type of stuff.
Yeah.
And we always look at, oh, the presidency, oh, the Senate, oh, the Congress. Look, the first thing that's going to affect you is your city and then what's going on in your state.
Exactly.
So the activists, that's what they need to be doing. They need to, and it can't just be this year.
Right.
It can't just be this year. And unfortunately, nationally, we're probably going to find it very difficult to get a supermajority and be able to get some type of amendment protecting women's rights to have an abortion. That's probably not going to happen. So it is imperative for people to get out and vote in your state. You know, Arizona, vote in your state to make sure that you get state senators and everything that are going to protect, you know, your sisters, your mothers, so that you have options.
So to your point, state, local elections, those are very important. In Arizona, abortion advocates are actually working right now. They're pushing for a state constitutional amendment that will overturn this. So if they get that in their state's amendment, it's locked down unless another law comes through to push it. So right now, it looks like they need to get 384,000 certified signatures by July 3rd if they want it to be on the ballot in November. So that's a big push. So I hope y'all can get that done. And, you know, that's hard work out there. So appreciate that.
Now, well, they got a Democratic governor out there. So, I mean, Arizona's made some strides, but there's a contingency out there that really pushes a racist agenda in Arizona. I think they try to fight it on the ground, man, but there's something going on because that state's always at the head of something just racist popping up out of damn nowhere. You know what I'm saying? So,
yeah. And that leads to my next question, because really, I mean, the way that our government is structured by racist or, you know, pro-life, whatever type of people, it's all boils down to, you know, state, local, but then also some of the decisions come from up high. Like some of the decisions that the reason why they were able to make these state and local laws is because the Supreme Court decision on Roe versus Wade, right, in 2022. If that didn't happen, these states couldn't bring back an 1864
they wouldn't
law.
even thought about it.
Exactly. So what else could the Supreme Court make a decision on that will take us back in another time machine? I mean, any opening to doors to other old laws, Steve?
Okay, so you've already heard Clarence Thomas talk about wanting to end gay marriage. Okay, you've already heard Clarence Thomas talk about his disagreement with anything that has to do with gay people. Okay, so at least in the South, all the states, most of them at least, have laws against some type of sodomy law or something against gay people. So I do feel like that's a danger. Okay, you talk about Black people's right to vote.
Yeah, I was gonna say Voting Right Act.
Yeah. That's
always under attack.
Always under attack, and they're already doing it sneaky. You know, So
they're not even sneaky with some of this shit. They blatant with a lot
they're
of it
pretty.
too.
Yeah,
but they're
pretty
sneaky with some stuff.
Yeah, they're sneaky with some stuff also. So, I think that those are the things that immediately come to mind. Those two things.
I mean, understand the Voting Right Act just came into play in 1965. You know, that was after my mom was born. You know what I'm saying? So it ain't like it's something that's just it ain't 1864.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So that's always under attack. So, I mean, you know, if they can roll back what makes it say they can't roll back people's right to vote? And then, if you don't have any voting, you don't have any power. So
that's your voice.
Yeah, that's the fear. That's the biggest fear. You know what I'm saying? They roll back this one, and ain't nothing stopping them to start rolling back anything, which they're already trying to do. That's already something that's going on. That they're trying to pass legislation right now to limit votes and making it hard for people to vote. So,
yeah. And I think once they take away once they limit people's ability to vote, then anything is at play. Because once you can't vote, you don't have a voice.
Mhm.
So what you say is irrelevant. You just don't like it.
Yep.
Yeah.
And stop complaining and get involved, people. Okay? Vote. Get out there and do something.
Exactly.
Complaining ain't gonna get you nowhere. So I want to go ahead and jump into the comments that we got right now, real quick, before we jump into the last comment, last discussion for the day. So we got Dr. Size on here on the world of Facebook. He says, get rid of the electoral college. You have states with lesser populations with too much power. That is not democracy.
Very true. Very true.
And then he went on to say that Arizona was not even a state then, nor could women vote. That's when apparently America was great for some. Oh, no shit.
Not for
Great
us.
for some, but
Christian nationalists,
not for this one.
These Christian nationalists running around here.
Yeah.
Oh my God. This fool said, this is Dr. Sizer. If women can't get abortion, men should be arrested for jacking off.
Yep. Child abandonment.
Look, child abandonment. You done killed about 30,000 children.
Everybody in this room get locked up right now. We all be
Like, you done killed about 30,000 children. Okay. Pro-life people will
all
protect.
of them on life sentences.
I know, right? Like mass murder. What is it called? Serial killer. All right. So Larry Size said, pro-life people will protect life until you are born. This shit's on you and complain about you for the rest of your life because society doesn't want to support you.
Exactly.
That point we talked about, man.
Yep. Don't want to help you once you're born.
Yep. Then Dr. Sizer followed that up. He said, if you said you had to give every female $100,000 to help support that baby, that law will change real quick.
Yep.
And we got Tina. Tina came through. She said, for the world of YouTube, she says, I want to know where are all the women voters in that state that let men make decisions on what they do with their bodies? Well, shit, they do that in every state still. I'm sorry to say, it's sad.
And then some women voters just jump on the train because they've been told it's for the better of everything. Once again, that's an agenda pushing for census numbers and power numbers. I'm telling you.
Exactly. Tina followed that up from YouTube, and she said, kind of discussion we just had is if they let that law come back, just imagine what is going to happen to people of color. So yeah, we know. We already talked about the Voting Rights Act, shit like that. Ain't no joke. Dr. Sizer said Clarence Thomas doesn't want to end interracial marriage, I bet.
No, he don't.
That was against the law
you
too.
can't vote, but you can marry a white woman.
Yeah, that was against the law too,
Got to
brother.
keep it swirl. You got to keep it swirl. Now, come on now.
That was against the law too in some states, brother.
Yeah. And then he said the MAGA people cannot settle on when America was great. Great point. And then we got a Ola from Leaving Marks. What's up, Mark? Or Leaving Marks, or whatever your name might be. Thanks for joining us, my man. Ola to you too.
Ola.
All right. So our girl, conservative commentator Candace Owens, was fired from the Daily Wire. She made it official with a tweet on X declaring the rumors are true. I'm finally free. I don't know when she was a slave, but I guess she's free now. She ain't Prince. So, Steve, what does the loss of Candace Owens mean to Team Conservative?
It don't mean shit. That's what it don't mean. Let me tell you something. Okay. Candace Owens talked a whole bunch of shit, talked about black people all the time, didn't have nothing good to say about black people.
Nope.
And she was not really engaging with anybody black to where she could even bring anybody black in. She wasn't Michael Steele. Michael Steele, when he was a Republican, he would say stuff and I would listen to Michael Steele and I'd be like, okay, I disagree with this brother, but I respect what he's saying. Respect his views. Every time I hear Candace Owens, I'd be like, fuck Candace Owens. She don't know what the hell she's talking about. Every single time, man. No.
Yeah, no.
It ain't gonna affect nothing, because the thing about it is you can get a Candace Owens or a Stacey Dash or somebody who's always gonna badmouth black people without ever uplifting black people. You can always get somebody to do that.
Remember those two sisters and one of them passed away?
Yes.
And they was just always had something bad to say to. Anyway, you're right. They can always find a replacement.
Yeah, I don't get it. You know, shout out to Michael Steele. Michael Steele was a Republican chairman of the Republican National Convention. You know, and yeah, even though he's Republican, he's still Republican. You know, he's still a brother. You know what I'm saying? He's still, you know,
and she's still a sister.
Yeah.
I mean, she a Sambo, but she's still a sister.
I'm just saying. But I mean, he's still for the people, though. You know what I'm saying? He's still for the people.
Right.
Candace, man, you know, we always got, like, as black people, we always got somebody who's trying to please white people. And I always tell them, like, white people good. You ain't got to please them. Like, they don't need your comment. You don't need to chip in. You know, they already got they negative shit to say. They don't need your ass Ruckus saying it. Like, you know, and that's who Candace was. It's like even with the George Floyd, that you don't have to say shit on that.
Right.
Just sit back.
Exactly. That was.
But you want to come in and chip in because you want to please white people. Oh man, you know, he was a criminal and this and that. Okay.
Yeah.
Still he shouldn't have still been choked to death
exactly
on TV.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? You know,
calling Juneteenth ghetto.
And then in Breonna Taylor, you want to back up the white cops. Well, you know, they shouldn't be kicking in people's doors and shooting and asking questions later.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? But you want to jump on that side and back them up because you want to please white people.
Yeah.
And that's the thing with Candace Owens. She was that person, Stacey Dash. I'm just gonna go left. You know what I'm saying? When I should probably be going right because it's just fucked up in the first place.
Yeah.
But I'm just gonna go left because you know, I get, you know, likes or whatever the hell she was getting out of it. I don't know.
Well, with everything you're saying, it sounds like a big loss for Team Conservative to me because she had a following, a big following, and she was on the platform that she got a lot of exposure. So is it going to your point? I agree with you, Steve. Like they could find another black person that's down to spit shit about us and get a paycheck
seen one
for
yesterday.
It. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But this might have an impact on them based on what she decides to do. What are your thoughts?
You know, it's gonna affect them, but they got a replacement already. Because I don't know if you've seen the Trump and the girl in the chicken coop or chicken restaurant or whatever.
Yeah. He gave a hug and everything.
He gave a hug and everything.
Chick-fil-A.
Talking about how much he back him and he better than Biden for black people. He did all this.
Yeah, they got one.
Like the girl was just staged and put there. You know what I'm saying? Like we don't know that shit. Like because black people just ain't sitting around in chicken restaurants waiting for Trump to walk in. You know what I'm saying? And we talking about Trump and by, hey, Mr. Trump, you know what I'm saying? So
come on, man.
They got to replace him. But the thing is like, you know, there is a contingent of black people, I guess, that feel that way, and she was a voice for them. And I think there's a comfort to some white people to be able to say, hey, look, she gets it over there. You know, there's no problem. It kind of fits into the racist colorblind agenda, like you know, and we're all one color, and like she's in agreement with us. I don't really know understand what it is, but yeah, it's a big blow to them because they don't have that one person to kind of blow up and kind of give them an alternative to the black narrative when it comes to black things. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And she was okay with being that person.
Let me push back on that though. You look at Candace Owens' baby shower, you look at Candace Owens' birthday parties, those white folks. You look at Candace Owens' comment section, it's mostly white folks.
Yeah.
So my question becomes this, like, does that hurt the Republicans with black people? Well, no, it don't hurt the Republicans with black people. Black people don't like Candace Owens. Even other conservatives don't like Candace Owens, man. I mean, look, again, Michael Steele, a black person can look at what Michael Steele says and say, yes, I agree. But when you have nothing good to say about black people, nothing, I disagree with Thomas Sowell, okay? I disagree with almost everything he says, okay? But sometimes he says something decent about black people.
Yeah.
He throw black people a bone every once in a while.
Yeah.
Look, Candace Owens is like freaking Auntie Ruckus, man. Hell no.
Yeah,
hell no. I can't stand that woman.
Hey, so we talking about how much we don't like her, which I agree with both of you 155%. But what were the events that led to her getting fired by the Daily Wire? Let's talk about that a little bit.
She backed some anti-Semitic comments, and they found out and that always get black people thrown out of there. You cool till you say something anti-Semitic or close to anti-Semitic, they get rid of your ass. Then I don't care what you're saying. You can say all kinds of shit about black people, but you say one thing anti-Semitic or even hint that you said something anti-Semitic, your ass is out of there. You know what I'm saying? And that's what happened to her. That's why she got fired, because and they weren't even clear on what she actually said or anything. I was looking that up. I mean, did y'all see anything? I couldn't find anything. So
yeah,
I found anti-Semitic theories that she supported, but nothing specific about no quotes.
Christ is king.
That could be a lot.
That could be
that's very vague.
That's a conspiracy in its goddamn self.
That's very vague.
And then I also saw that she was beefing with Ben Shapiro.
Yeah, Ben Shapiro. I saw that too.
The owner of Daily Wire, that basically talking crap about him supporting Israel and shit like that. So once again, I think that if there's any quotes that they took away as being anti-Semitic, it would be the things that the conversation she had with him, because it was all public.
Yeah.
So
yeah, I mean, if you say something like you agree with what Hamas or whatever, or you back Palestine, that could be taken as anti-Semitic today, or anti-Semitic theories or whatever. I mean, it's just, that's a very vague reason, but I don't care. They got rid of her. Candace Owens was vague.
Exactly.
But the irony of that is this: just like you were saying, you can have somebody who is not anti-Israel but supports Palestinian homeland, supports Palestinian rights. I mean, Bernie supports all of that.
Yeah,
and he's Jewish.
Yeah, you're right.
But the thing about it is, again, Candace, she putting her foot in the door, thinking she can say the stuff she said about black people about other people.
Yeah,
that don't work.
Yeah. So with that being the case, man, she done said a lot of stuff about black folks, man. But now all of a sudden she want to be on Breakfast Club and the Joe Budden podcast, and she's showing ass on black media. So,
and guess what? We'll have you here too if you want to come. We'll steal some of them.
Yeah, I will too. So why
you have her here?
Is she going?
Look, invite me back, nigga.
Look, why is she going on black media shows? Oh, she used to hate us. Now she want to be on our shows. Why is she doing that?
Niggas just like OJ High, Johnny Cochran, nigga. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, black people who make it and they find success with white people, Tiger Woods, and they find success when they get in trouble, they come back home. That's just the recipe. They're gonna come back home,
and we just gonna embrace them with open arms too.
Yeah, that's the that's the Brooklyn, that's the black people way, man. That's what we do, man. You know what I'm saying? But the thing is like, I remember I was looking at the Breakfast Club thing, and they were just hitting her with like things black people know. You know what I'm saying?
Softballs. They throwing softballs at her ass.
Yeah. And they hit her with is God good? And she didn't know how to reply to that. Yeah, she didn't know how to reply to that. They called out there. She was lost. She was like, it was funny, baby. You got to look at that clip. But they were just hitting her with things that black people do just to see where she was at. So they having fun with it. But yeah, man, in the day in the story with all these black people, they know one thing: when they black, we gonna bring them back home. You know what I'm saying? You lost your ways. We're gonna bring them back home. So of course she's gonna be doing black shows.
Is there any like strategic thing behind this?
It was a strategy for her to go right, for her to go to the right. Because if you look at, she was already trying to create a political platform that was to the left. It was not successful because it was too saturated. And she moved all the way to the right, found people who supported her, and then just went further right. So, yeah, it was strategic that she did what she did in the first place. So, yeah, it's a strategy for her to go back to black people. But I disagree with this brother. They could keep Candace. They can keep her.
Hey,
I'm not personally agreeing with it. I'm telling you what happens though.
Look, she
I'ma tell you
can't come back. She can't come back to the cookout, bro.
Here's the thing, bro. Here's the thing, bro. I'm just gonna say it. I'm gonna put it out there, man. There's people like us who have awareness of all the things going on in politics in the world, and we follow this shit, and we know what Candace Owens has done.
Yeah,
we ain't gonna take her back. But unfortunately, there are some black people who don't want to get in the game. They don't want to get in the politics game. They don't want to get into the news. They tired of hearing the negative shit, and they'll take her back. Yeah. They'll take her back with open arms because she's a sister. She's a queen. You know what I'm saying? And we embrace our people. If a black person apologizes for shit and come back to you, we gonna bring them back. Now, unfortunately, that's how we get fucked over, though.
Yeah,
and that's what we know as a group, and that's how we were like, keep your distance over there. I ain't gonna say nothing bad about you, Candace. I might, but at the end of the day, I just can't trust you, right? I might be civil to you and I can talk to you, but I can't trust you. And I think that might be more where he's leaning toward. He ain't trying to like embrace it and say that you're now part of the left and all, or the independents or whatever. Your potato salad. We ain't eating that shit. But at the end of the day, most black people will take her back with open arms because she is a queen, and that's just what it is. We were born and bred to allow our overseers to love our overseers, house Negro, motherfuckers, all kind of slaves, and having babies with the master. We were told to turn the other cheek. That's what we were taught. So when these motherfuckers do bad shit to us, well, you know, you can't whip me, but I can whip you. You know what I'm saying? Just take it. Okay, master. I mean, and I'm going way far back in time, back to 1860 something with this.
1864, like that.
You know? Yeah. But at the end of the day, we inherently, because of how we came up and our descendants, we are forgiving people. And that's just who we are.
Yeah, check it out, man. You know, this week we lost O.J. Simpson, right? The juice, right? And he means different things for different people. But it's funny, I was having a talk to one of my counterparts at work, and I told him, I said, you know, first off and foremost, OJ wasn't ours anyway when he went through all this shit. Yeah, he was the juice or whatever, but OJ didn't fuck with black people when he got in trouble. He messed with white people. You know what I'm saying? You gotta, and y'all don't, I said, what y'all gotta understand is we was probably cheering with Johnny Cochran. We didn't give a damn about OJ because OJ didn't mess with black people like that. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And that's a similarity to what you're saying. But then as OJ kind of went through and kind of talked, you know, we didn't completely cut him off, but it came to the point where we were defending OJ because I was like, what OJ did, white people do all the time. Hell, Trump's doing that now. You know what I'm saying? He's going through getting away with cases and doing all kinds of shit. Y'all do that shit all the time. OJ's the only person we can reference that did that shit.
Nah, one person though.
Yeah.
Do that shit.
No, I'm just saying, but one person
as a son of somebody.
No. I'm just saying, it's just one person. It's just one person that went through the court system and won a goddamn case. You know, do it or not do it or whatever the case may be. It's one person. White people do that shit all the time. Trump's doing that shit right now, running for fucking president and doing this shit. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And I said, and you got to understand it. He was never ours in the first place. He was y'all's. He was, I'm not black, I'm OJ type
but
shit.
But to your point, he became ours.
Yeah.
After that shit happened. Yeah. After he went through something that we go through. Yeah. He was found innocent. I almost say got away with it. He was found innocent. You know what I'm saying? And then we embraced him.
Yeah.
But that also got his ass into trouble because after that, he got some black friends. Yeah. And he went to the hotel in Vegas and he didn't know black people carry guns.
Yeah, he was on some stupid shit.
He didn't know black folks. You got guns.
Either way it goes. But it's
what
like
black folks do.
Yeah, but it's even like with the Candace thing. Like, I don't trust Candace Owens when I throw them, and I sure don't get down with her like that. But just to be realistic on how black people are, in the day in the story, like, yeah, we still gonna have her come on our shows and support her or whatever the case may be, because that's just what black people do.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? Even though she said all kinds of horrific shit and went against everything that black people try to do in this country. You know what I'm saying? So
exactly. So I mean, Candace Owens, man, let me ask you this. If she switches, because we talked about she's got a strategic move. She started off strategically going to the right.
Get this one.
It was a niche for her. Like, she was the only black person at that time speaking all of that rhetoric. Then she want to switch back to the left now, right? She on these black shows. So if she switches to a liberal stance.
Oh, she can't do
Would anyone trust her?
She would not have a platform. She would not have a platform because it would definitely come off as fake. It would come off as dishonest. It would come off as a snake oil salesman type of thing. Because you said all of this stuff, and again,
Yeah.
I'm good with somebody being conservative and me disagreeing with you. I am not good when you start dissing people for celebrating Juneteenth,
Yeah.
for celebrating when Black people were free. Juneteenth is our 4th of July. That's when we became free as a people, okay? At least in Texas, okay? And even if you're not from Texas, if you're celebrating Juneteenth, you are celebrating freedom. Freedom is supposed to be an American thing. She trashed that.
Yeah.
You can't come back to the Black community. You can't come back to the moderate or liberal community. You trashing stuff like that. There's no way that she could come back and say anything and seem genuine or honest or any of that.
So let me ask you this. I see your point 110%. I agree, but I'm going to challenge it with Trump. Okay. How many times has this man said shit and then go back and say something totally the opposite of that? He says shit like grab him by the pussy. They make excuses for him. He says, "Oh, I'm pro-life and I'm pro-choice." He always says some crazy ass shit and goes back on it. You know, those were great people over there. But, you know, people still embrace him. Like, so why can't Candace Owens get that same treatment?
Okay. You said Trump, right? Let me ask you this. Why do you think Trump didn't run as a Democrat? Up until 2008, most of the things that you said when you heard him on an interview, his views were mostly Democratic, right? Okay, Democrats don't play that. They don't. You look at Al Franklin, you know, the comedian, okay, that turned into a senator. He got kicked out for doing some sexist stuff, and he was joking. And he had to resign from the Senate. I would definitely say, look, there's a lot of stuff you can get away with when you're a Republican that you are not able to get away with saying when you're a Democrat.
I will say that I don't know if it's that you get away with it or if it's that they don't care about what you say and about what you said before. I think that we as Democrats and even independents want accountability from people for doing things. Al Franken didn't have to resign, but he did it because his own moral compass told him, I said something I shouldn't have said, so I'm leaving. And Democrats asked for him to do that because we don't believe in what he said. But then you look on the other side of the ledger. I can't remember the individual's name, but he was in college and he went to a party. He did blackface, and they found the pictures of him. There was another one that dressed up like Michael Jackson, blackface, and another one that did a different blackface with coon lips or whatever. He's still in office right now. He didn't say I'm gonna. I was a kid. That's what we did back then in 1952.
Yeah.
No apology, nothing. They still. Yeah. I think they don't care. They're like, you know what? I don't care as long as we got that seat.
Yeah.
If we got somebody in that seat, do whatever the fuck you want to do and say. If we got somebody in the president's seat, if we Trump, do and say whatever you want. I think that's the difference in why, you know, Trump does what he does. But Candace Owens, I think that they embraced her like on the Joe Budden show, and like you said on Breakfast Club, they throwing softballs, asking silly little questions to see if she understands black statements and shit. They wasn't hitting her with no shit like I would hit her like, you know, like, why you say that shit about Juneteenth?
Yeah, and George Floyd and all that.
Yeah, that's the shit that people need to be asking her, but they not.
But she ain't gonna go on Roland Martin. She ain't gonna go on somewhere where they're gonna ask her a real question.
Yeah.
I respect her when she goes and she debates somebody like Roland Martin. When she go on Laura Coates show or something. Exactly. Like that. Yeah. You can't when you're going somewhere and it's just puff. I mean, you know, a fluff. You know, that's different. They ain't gonna ask you no real questions.
Yeah, no.
Yeah, that's not their platform.
But once again, I think that's a little bit different from, and I get why we're going down this path. But at the end of the day, I mean, if she goes to the liberal side, once again, if she says the right things, the things people want to hear, that's the same thing that got her so popular as a conservative. If she says the things that the left want to hear and says, I changed my mind, I don't know. I think that they'll still embrace her. I don't know. That's just my opinion.
I don't know about that.
I'll be honest with you. I think there is especially the younger generation. I think there's a generation that really don't understand politics, that she can talk similar to what she's saying. Maybe she's a little more conservative, moderate. She moves a little bit more toward the middle. But there's actually like a black generation of people that don't understand fucking politics, that really fit into that colorblind, we're all one color and slavery was old and civil rights is old and everything's equal now. There's actually people that follow them. Like I said, they're a little younger.
Yeah.
They're like, millennials and younger, you know what I'm saying? But I think there's a voice for that. And I think you do have some people that follow and do that and believe that. They think that, hey, you know what, that's in the past and we need to move forward. We need to stop talking about racism and civil rights and stuff like that. That's the best I think she can do to save face and stay where she's at and maybe win a couple of cool points. But if she tries to go all the way left, I'm like with Steve, nobody's gonna believe that. You know what I'm saying? And then now she's dealing with people that are gonna be asking those hard questions, like hell, she go talk to Veshy on MSNBC, they're gonna eat her alive. You know what I'm saying? They're gonna pull out all the crazy shit she said about George Floyd and Breonna Taylor and all that stuff, when she directly went against what black people were talking about and purposely went out and tried to muddy the waters when it came to George Floyd, when that had nothing to do with that man dying. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So
I want to hear her talk to Maya Rockamore, somebody like that. Maya Rockamore Cummins, somebody like that.
Yeah.
She's not gonna do that.
She ain't gonna get on. She's gonna catch that heat. But she stays in the middle, maybe go on CNN. She might get a Laura Coates or somebody who ain't gonna really beat her up and let her talk a little conservative and kind of stay in her lane, and she'll be all right there. But
so you said like she has a message that could resonate with some people, and regardless of whether she goes right or left, there are people that are going to want to hear her. So will she be able to find a new platform to get on, to get her message out there? And if so, where do you think she might end up?
Somebody likes her. You know what I'm saying? She's popular. I mean, I think she can go talk on Newsmax right now, or she can go to, America One or one of these real far right places. I think they'll pick her up and she could start spilling some of the bullshit she was spilling before. You know what I'm saying? And we won't even hear it because we don't look at none of that craziness. But she got people out there. She can show up to the Trump rally. You know what I'm saying? And I'm surprised he ain't platformed her out there yet. You know what I'm saying? But she could do that. So I mean, she's still somewhat got like some people that'll listen to her. You know what I mean? Because I mean, I hate to say it, a lot of people that support her, they don't care about being anti-Semitic. Hell, they anti-Semitic.
He said, yeah.
Yeah. I just wonder, like, I don't know if I agree 100% about the anti-Semitic thing. I think that you're right. There's an audience out there who don't give a fuck about anti-Semitic tropes and things like that. But at the same time, I think that most news networks are kind of standoffish when they have somebody out there that they're going to have on their network that might talk that. I can see her being on, like, once again, maybe a streaming platform or an online platform or something like that, where they probably care less, but she got kicked off the Daily Wire for that. So I don't know.
But what she said was subtle. It was subtle. It wasn't outright. It wasn't like she just didn't say something crazy. And that's the difference.
I don't know what she said.
Yeah. If she had said something that was overtly anti-Semitic,
it would have been all over the place.
Yes. But I feel like what she said, it was subtle. If she had talked about Jewish people like she talked about black people, then no, she wouldn't be able to go anywhere.
They're taking her comment that she made to Ben Shapiro about supporting Israel, if that's what they're saying is anti-Semitic, because right now you could just say Jew and you anti-Semitic. So I mean, if you're right, if that's the case, if that's what that's the statement that they're using to justify her firing.
I mean, she could have said something to the point where she's not liking Netanyahu's policies, and the Jews are doing this and that, and she could just disagree on their policy there. And Ben Shapiro, which he ain't no saint, could have took that as anti-Semitic and just or whatever. Who knows what she said? You know what I'm saying?
But again, part of her problem is if she was speaking about specific policies, just specific policies. Okay, well, I disagree with this specific policy. I disagree with. It's about being articulate about your position. To me, she just the stuff. How she says what she says is just so rough.
She ain't got no fear of saying bad shit about black people, and she says it, and she says it without knowing that she had a whole bunch of people that would support her, people that didn't like her. She said a whole bunch of stuff, and she said a lot of hurtful things to the black community.
So look, and it's sad because as a black person, I think when I look at things with her, I'm still looking at it through that gaze. So it's difficult for me to even get past that enough to be able to say, oh, well, yeah, because she could go on Newsmax or something like that, because they always saying something crazy about black people.
Yeah.
And although they'll say that they support Israel, when it comes to the Jewish community here in America, they're not supportive.
No.
When anti-Semitic stuff goes on here in America, they're not supporting our Jewish brothers and sisters.
No.
They're not doing it. Okay. And that's the problem. Yeah. That's the problem right there. And you can disagree. Like I said, you can disagree with a war. You can disagree with how a war is being handled, and it not be a thing about, okay, well, I disagree with this race. You can disagree with the number of people that are being killed. You can disagree with the things that are being bombed. You can disagree with these things, right? And not have anything against those people at all.
No.
But what we see here in America is we see straight up anti-Semitism against Jewish people. And you could say it's because of this or that, the other. It's because they're Jewish. It's because they're not white.
Yeah. Charlottesville. White. Yeah, Charlottesville. And then they went and from Charlottesville, they went and shot up a synagogue in Pennsylvania. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So I mean, so the same things as black people that we struggle with when it comes to this racism, a lot of Jewish people suffer the same thing. So.
Yes. And it's just not right. It's not right. So somebody, like I said, what she said, you can disagree with it. I don't know. And again, I'm hesitant to say, okay, well, it wasn't anti-Semitic because I'm not Jewish. And I know sometimes people say with something that didn't sound anti-black to me, and I'll be like, hold up. As a black person, I disagree with you.
Yeah.
So I'm hesitant to say that it wasn't.
Yeah.
Because I kind of feel like that has a certain level of insensitivity. And I realize I'm not looking at it from that point of view.
Right. Because that's not our religion. So.
Yeah. But I feel like, yeah, she if she want to stay on the right, she has some platforms. She still has some platforms. She has a name, and she has people who still right. She Kanye get her a job, man.
Yeah.
She'll be back to pissing us off here soon.
Yeah.
So we got our own platform, YouTube and Facebook. We need to answer some questions on here real quick before we cut out of here. So first one I got on here, Dr. Sizer says, Candace ain't no sister of mine. And then Dr. Sizer said, Michael Steele was once Mike Tyson's brother-in-law. He stands on conservative values. I also don't agree with some of his points, but he is sane. Yes, he is. We got Dr. Sizer said, F her or fuck her, she bringing potato salad with raisins to the cookout.
Right.
Not my cookout, though.
And shredded carrots and shit like that. Like, what kind of damn potato salad is that?
Then he said, Candace Owens filed a lawsuit in high school and sought the support of the NAACP, and they helped her. I remember that story.
Yep.
It was discrimination. She was saying she's being
Mhm.
discriminated against.
Yeah.
Now she all up in they
Now she says discrimination don't
Don't exist.
exist.
Yeah.
Crazy, huh?
Wow.
That broad ain't no queen. She ain't even in the court. She a queen regardless. She just don't. She just a
I don't
lost
know.
queen.
I don't know.
She got
Queen
look.
of
She
what?
look.
I
She
don't
got
know.
some Mandinka. Look, if she got Mandinka in her blood, she a queen. Damn it. Let's see. Black people wanted to win. Mike Tyson and Jackson had been dogged, and Rodney King was beat, and the cops were innocent. That was the only reason he had support. You talk about OJ.
Mhm.
Let's see. Then he says, hell no, she gone. She belongs to the streets. They can have her.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. And that's about it. We got Leaving Marks. He says, instead of calling him Ben, let's call him Dr. Dry.
Oh yeah, I can't stand him either.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. So, hey, that's our show for the week, fellas. Thank you so much, Steve, coming out, joining us this week, adding your insights and intelligence to the conversation. Appreciate you, my brother. My man Ace always coming here, always doing this thing. I appreciate you for being a part of this, man, and going on this journey with me. And then our guest, Matt, holding it down on Facebook and YouTube, making sure that all those comments get addressed. Also listening to make sure we don't got no audio screw ups, which it looked like everything was good this week. So, I want to thank everybody out there, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, the whole nine. Hey, if y'all ain't watching our videos, because we do have videos after we do these live streams, we break down the conversations into different video subjects. We also have civic engagement videos about how to vote and things like that on our YouTube page. So check us out on YouTube at Left-Wing Kingz. All right.
Yes, sir.
See y'all again next week.